The other topic that you like to talk about a lot and in a very humorous way is NASA. And you mentioned the idea of man as God as
Mhm.
one of the explanations of the Peterson phenomenon, a kind of self-transcendence or apotheosis, but one that doesn't require any God to pull you up. You can just do it by cleaning your room and reading a few books, and then you've got this kind of Gnostic
Yeah,
salvation by
totally.
knowledge.
Totally.
But what do you think explains the emotional connection that people have to NASA as well?
It's same. It's transcendent. It's man can transcend the limitations of this limited temporal stage, right? And that it represents its ascension. It's NASA is ascension, lift up. It actually literally means, I think in Hebrew, lift up. And so I think if you really go to the core start of NASA, people often go to like the Nazis and Operation Paperclip and Werner von Braun and all the stuff, which is fun. But you have to go even a little bit before with JPL and Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons, self-described Crowleyan Satanist, sex orgies, black magic, dark sex rituals and stuff like this. A son of Crowley, wrote him letters, had a little house where the rent would go straight to his father. He called him explicitly his father, Aleister Crowley, his father, in a religious sense, not in just a fatherly sense. He also had a strong disdain for his own father, but also Christ and the Father. Explicitly wrote about it, shared it. And so when you look at that and you go, okay, who is he hanging out with? Not just these people who are doing all this sex magic and stuff, but tied to the culture was what was considered the cutting edge science fiction community, science fiction writers, Robert Heinlein, who wrote all of these books about going to space. They merged together and basically said, wow, we can actually create the narrative, the illusion, the trick that there is ascension possible with rocketry, but also sexual, all of it. You could still to this day, all of NASA's stuff is sexualized, and sci-fi, and merge the two and be able to sell it to the people. And really, there's a lot more going on. Just like science is never free of some starting assumption, presupposition, philosophy, neither is space travel as we know it, right? All of it has this root, and it's really antichrist, but it's antichrist probably less and less overtly. They don't there's not much said about it. In fact, I just learned that they actually, just talking about the shade, what was the saying? The shade of the that a lie requires some truth.
Yeah, so the best heresies are around for so long because they have a little bit of the truth in them.
Right. Yeah. And so I recently found out that many of NASA's employees and scientists are not nearly required, but really urged to read a very giant book that I just got a hold of called The Chronicles of Michael the Great, who is a patriarch of the Orthodox Church, who branched off a little bit, I think, of the Antioch and went into or some Oriental branch of Orthodox. But nonetheless, the book that he wrote is a massive book. And basically it's the universal story of creation on from the start until now. You go, well, why would they? I thought NASA and all those people hate religion. I thought they're against religion. I thought they don't want to know about this. No, they're much to do with occultism, gnosis, that the world and spirituality can be obtained from within, but also directed and given by numerology, wordsmithing and all this stuff. And so they do participate in some weird hybrid religion. I think based on what I've seen, it's like Kabbalism mixed with old Jewish mysticism, which is similar, right? But and then they always appeal to some level of Christianity, because I think they might know that a personalized entity is essential in people's appeal, or at least their desire to know God. So what does know God mean? I mean, it's always personhood. How do we know each other? Through personhood. And so that's why I think they're going to actually start to sell us contact with intelligence. I think that's the next psyop. I think they're preparing the seeds for that by saying, like, well, we found all the necessary DNA out there. We found all of the necessary components to start life. This satellite is now picking up very strange. They start planting the UFO-y overlapping with this intelligence. And what's interesting is that all of these books, like by Heinlein, they point to this stuff. Even Stanislaw Lem wrote a book called His Master's Voice, which was about NASA, searching for this neutron stuff and neutrino and all this stuff. And then they finally make contact with some obscure patterns of information. And what does that do? It's the same. What it establishes is what NASA already established itself as, which is the surrogate translator for the things in the cosmos, the heavens, the translator, the buffer. Let's say the lawyer, like lawyers are to written law, as NASA is to understanding what we look up and go, holy crap, like this is we can't fathom. And they go, we'll translate it for you in very simple terms and animation. I think they're going to do that again with His Master's Voice sort of setup, where they report to us that they think they have something here, folks. And then we're just waiting, everyone's waiting. What are they going to translate? And from that, it becomes sort of like this directive, this Wizard of Oz behind the curtain directive, right? And it's beyond AI, I guess, because AI, all those AI people, there will also be parallel to that narrative is the technocrats and the transhumanists, who aren't the same exact ilk, I don't think, as NASA. Maybe they overlap. And I think they're going to also be battling it out with NASA. NASA wants to go transcendental, even if they fake it. They'll be like, it's still real, and the transhumanists will go, no, we're actually going to create an AI King Solomon, right? Another King Solomon who's given all the knowledge. And this King Solomon AI central command hub is going to be able to spit out prescriptives based on the knowledge it has that you don't have. I don't have it. You don't have it. We're not smart enough, guys. But they're going to tell us what the likely futures are and what to do and what to say and what not to say. And I think those two will, the irony is that they'll battle each other while we, the meek, watch, right? They'll battle each other as far as who's going to secure the absolute voice of God, the inversion of God's voice. God created in man's image.